Trump will sign the Laken Riley Act into law, marking the new administration's first legislative win. It will require ICE agents to detain illegal immigrants accused of violent crimes and theft. And it also allows migrants who are accused of crimes to be deported before they stand trial. The law is named after 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley, who was killed last year by an illegal immigrant from Venezuela. Also today, President Trump will sign an executive order prohibiting federal funding to K through 12 schools that teach critical race theory and gender and radical gender ideology.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
You hear the stories. It's not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
If you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
It ain't an easy job, but when you ain't lost to one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
All right. How do we do it so quickly? We were just live for 4.5 hours for RFK's confirmation hearing, and we are still fresh-faced and ready to rock, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump live at the White House very soon. We have a shot for you here of the podium where President Trump will be speaking and will be signing the Laken Riley Act, an act that is so common sense that it's almost a humiliating embarrassment that it needed to be signed and passed into law. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad it was passed into law. Effectively, what it says is if you are a illegal and you kill an American, which is what happened to poor Laken Riley and her beautiful family, then you go home. You are prosecuted and you are kicked out and you're gone forever from this country. And of course, you have no chances of returning, and hopefully maybe they send them to a prison colony, or even worse, Donald Trump talking about bringing back the death penalty. Some people, ladies and gentlemen, are literally against an act like this. By literally, I mean the Democrats voted. Hundreds of Democrats. Producer Danny, or ALX, can you grab me the whip count for the Democrats in the House of Representatives that voted against this? To their credit, I think a considerable number of Democrats in the Senate voted for it, but still, Democrats voted against this act that says that rapists and murderers who are criminal aliens, and they're all criminals, just an important statistic for you, what's the criminal alien crime rate? It's 100%. That's the rate of criminal aliens committing crimes, because their first act was to commit a crime entering this nation. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, Democrats still found it hard to vote for this, and didn't. In fact, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hundreds of Democrats, 156 Democrats voted against it. Voted against the Laken Riley Act. So what would be exactly the rationale for that? Sure, it would be nice to have some reporters, I guess, in D.C. asking questions, and this is what will happen with President Trump. President Trump will be presumably taking questions here in moments. Again, here's the shot, ladies and gentlemen, of the podium. They just zoomed in, and so it does seem like President Trump will be getting to the podium in just one moment. He was supposed to speak at 2 o'clock. Sharp. We are at 2:12 right now, and Laken Riley, her family is there. Members of her community are there. People who knew her are there at the White House. This is Donald Trump making good on a campaign promise. We're not going to miss a moment of this, and obviously Donald Trump does take questions from the press in moments like these, and has been doing impromptu press conferences pretty much nonstop for the fresh beginning of the administration that is just barely 1 week old. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very, very big one. John Fetterman, to his great credit, is proud to sponsor the Laken Riley Act. Went on Fox News and talked about how it must be signed. and has been promoting it on his social media all day. I think he's actually at the White House. He's the senator from Pennsylvania. Don't fall for the John Fetterman op. He obviously voted against Pete Hegseth. John Fetterman has a long ways to go before our show will consider him even remotely close to an ally. You're going to have to actually vote against the corporate Democrat Party and your overlords. You have to vote with America first to actually show us that you have any type of skin in the game. But John Fetterman, if you're going to give points to someone, he's been the number one Democrat in the Senate who's been going out and banging the drum against this. If we could grab John Fetterman's post on X explaining how proud he is of the Laken-Riley Act, and John Fetterman allegedly will be either at the signing or will be promoting the actual bill itself, and he has been. So this is the live shot right now of the White House. We expect Donald Trump in minutes. The reason why Laken-Riley obviously became such a massive issue in the presidential race. You can see people being ushered in right here. Presumably, if they're sitting in the front row, you're going to be having perhaps members of the family, and you see the military ushers escorting in. There's J.D. Vance. Okay, great. J.D. Vance. Was that Stephen Miller up top? There's J.D. Vance, vice president. J.D. Vance being escorted in. So you just have to assume that President Trump is imminently on his way. And who is this? Yeah, please. Man, it almost looked like daggum Tim Burchett.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It almost looked like Mr. Daggum. So, ladies and gentlemen, we expect the president in moments, and here he is, right now. Nice. Great. Listen to this.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Before we begin, I want to provide a brief report on the unprecedented success our country has been witnessing in recent weeks. Since even before the election, we've been making extraordinary progress. The American people gave us a clear mandate to save our country, and we won all 7 swing states by large margins, historic. Very importantly, we won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. Also, all 50 states, as you know, shifted toward the Republican Party, and that's never happened before. All 50, every single one of them. In our first week in office, we set records, taking over 350 executive actions. That's not been done before. And it has reportedly been the single most effective opening week of any presidency in history. And we want to keep it that way. We want to keep it going. We want to keep it going. We've broken from decades of failed Washington policies and restored common sense and sanity to our government. We've unleashed American energy, and we've already achieved record low illegal immigration. As you see, nobody tried to get in. And that's what we've been waiting for a long time, and gotten woke ideologies out of our government and out of our military. The water has now begun flowing in California as we continue to increase the flow in coming days. Nobody's seen anything like that, and I've also taken strong action to regain control of the Washington bureaucracy. Just for clarification purposes, because it was incorrectly reported yesterday, we have informed the federal workforce, which they've looked to do for many years, that if they're working for the federal government, they must show up to the office on time and on schedule. We don't want them. We don't want them to work from home because, as everyone knows, most of the time they're not working, they're not very productive, and it's unfair to the millions of people in the United States who are in fact working hard from job sites and not from their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government, they're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful, as you understand. A lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly. Thank you. In addition, there was a short-term pause or funding freeze on certain discretionary spending payments, such as government grants, only for us to quickly look at the scams, dishonesty, waste, and abuse that's taken place in our government for too long. As was explicitly stated, this in no way affected Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or other entitlements that Americans depend on. I've made abundantly clear from the very first day that I ran from office, that was a long time ago now, that's 2015. If you think about it, I announced in 2015 and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020, but we did really well just recently. And I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. You can imagine where that money went. These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found, and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places. But these were the payments and types of payments affected by the temporary freeze, and the American people strongly support these efforts. I talked about it during the campaign, and they voted for us in record numbers. Every single day, we're now putting America first and fighting to get the most out of every single tax dollar for our great citizens. We've gathered this afternoon to take another historic action. However, in a few moments, the Laken Riley Act will become the very first bill that I proudly sign into law as the 47th President of the United States. Laken was a brilliant and beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia, the best in her class. She was always the best. They would say, Laken, how do you do this? And what do you do? They were always asking her questions. She was respected by everybody, even her teachers. They respected her so much. From the time she was in first grade, Laken knew she wanted to spend her time caring for others. That's what she did. To her friends and classmates, she was a light of warmth and kindness in every single room. To her parents and family, she was everything in the world. They've had a miserable period of time. Just after 9 a.m. last February 22nd, Laken went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia, but she was just never returned. She never came back, did she, huh? Parents are here, sister, all of her relatives. While on her run, Laken was attacked, viciously assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who was set loose into our country by the last administration. We are deeply honored to be joined today by Laken's parents, Allison and John, and her sister, Lauren. Thank you very much. Thank you. So sad. We were together right after that happened, and it's a tremendous tribute to your daughter, what's taking place today. That's all I can say, but so sad we have to be doing it at all. Thank you very much for being here. To Laken's family, we will keep Laken's memory alive in our hearts forever, everyone's hearts. With today's action, her name will also live forever in the laws of our country, and this is a very important law. This is something that has brought Democrats and Republicans together. That's not easy to do. Laken did it. Laken did it. America will never, ever forget Laken Hope Riley. The vicious criminal who murdered Precious Laken was an illegal alien member of the barbaric Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. He trespassed across our southern border in 2022 and was apprehended by Border Patrol, but under the cruel policies of the last administration, instead of being deported, as he should have been, he was released into the United States, as were millions of other people, many of them very dangerous people. And you see what we're doing? We're getting them the hell out of here. He was soon arrested again in New York City on charges of endangering a child, but because of New York City's deadly sanctuary policies, as we have in California and many other places, which we're ending, we're going to end them, he was released again to reoffend. The Biden administration then provided this illegal alien criminal with a free, taxpayer-funded flight from New York to Georgia, where he was arrested yet again, constantly, this time for stealing from a Walmart along with his gang member brother, who was a bad one. Only after being released the third time by the U.S. law enforcement did this cold-blooded criminal go out in that fateful morning hunting for women on whom to prey. That's what he did. He hunted. It was like a hunter. We're going to show him who the hunter is. This horrific atrocity should never have been allowed to happen. And as president, I'm fighting every single day to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. We don't want this to happen. And under the law, thank you. Under the law I'm signing today, the Department of Homeland Security will be required to detain all illegal aliens who have been arrested for theft, burglary, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a police officer, murder, or any crime that results in death or serious injury. In addition, for the first time ever, this act give state governments the ability to sue the federal government for immediate injunctive relief if any future administration ever again refuses to enforce the immigration laws of the United States, like happened for 4 long years. And that was happening for 4 long years, frightful years. Amazing. You'd say, how can people do this? How can they allow this to happen? How can they allow criminals to pour into our country and then try and defend it? And they're still trying to defend it, but they can't. That's why I'm here instead of somebody else, actually. It's the biggest reason. I believe it's the single biggest reason. Inflation was horrible. Many things were horrible during that administration. When you look at what took place in Afghanistan, the way they got out, not that they got out, but the way, so many things were horrible. But to me, this was the worst of all. It's a landmark law that we're doing today. It's going to save countless innocent American lives. I want to thank every House Republican, every Senate Republican, as well as the 12 Senate Democrats and the 48 House Democrats who voted to pass this vitally important bill, and many of them are with us today, and I really do appreciate it. And I very much especially appreciate the bipartisan support. The Democrats, really a big percentage of them came through, and plenty of them wanted to. They probably felt they couldn't, but they really wanted to. That they don't understand that would have made them a lot more popular, would have made them a lot better with their people. The ones that didn't are going to be sorry, because the people are not going to forget that they wouldn't sign. This is a perfect, incredible tribute to an unbelievable young lady. We're joined today by many great supporters of our new strong border policies, and they are indeed strong, including Vice President Vance, thank you, JD, Secretary Scott Bessent, who just got approved, by the way. Where's Scott? He just got approved. Scott, I'm very impressed. Got a lot of Democrat votes. Yeah. He got a lot of Democrat votes. That's great. I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll have to think about that. Secretary of Homeland Security, who's going to be fantastic. I know her so well, and I know it's probably not complimentary because she is a woman, but she is tough. Where is she? Where is Christy? Christy, great. Stand up, please. You have such an important job to do. Really great. Thank you very much. And don't let that look fool you. That look is, she's tough, and she cannot stand that she's having to sit here and even listen to this today. Another one who's done a job like nobody that I've seen in a long time, Tom Homan. He's my friend, but he is something special. He's something special. Yeah. And Tom and Christy, the numbers are unbelievable. What's happened? It's like just shut down. Nobody thought that was even possible. It's just shut down. They showed an area that a year ago had thousands and thousands of people rushing into our country. And today there was nobody there. It was like a beautiful sight. And also Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso. Great guy. Great guy. Thank you, John. And I also want to thank the bill sponsors, Senator Katie Britt. Katie, thank you, Katie. And Congressman Mike Collins. And Mike, you were fantastic from Georgia. He took this. He loves this state, and he took this very personally. So it's thank you very much, Mike. As well as Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley. Chuck is here someplace. Chuck, thank you very much. You look great. And House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, who's a special guy, special man. And House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Mark Green. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. And we have many other congressmen and senators, but I'm not going to introduce because this is about your daughter. This is about something that's so important, and we're going to just go along. Thank you also. We have to say Burt Jones is in the room, and Burt is your lieutenant governor, and he was on this like you wouldn't believe. Thank you very much. I see you sitting there. Thank you very much. So we have state, local officials, we have law enforcement organizations, we have everybody. Most of them are in the room or represented in the room, and they're incredible people, and I've never seen them come together like they have for this. I've done many of these, not of this kind, but different bills, different passages having to do with many different things, from homeland security to inner security to taxes to 50 different items. I've never seen such support as you have today and as your great daughter has today. So I've never seen anything like it. And we have to thank your daughter for that, because she's going to save a lot of lives. She's going to be responsible for saving a lot of lives. So I'd like to just say to the Angel families, I've been with them and they've been with me from 2015 when I first got this crazy idea in my head to run for president because we could do better as a country. I want to thank so many of the people that are here that have been the Angel moms, and we call them Angel moms, but they're Angel families, fathers and sons and daughters, but they've suffered tremendously like you have for no reason whatsoever. I want to thank Alexis Nungari, the mother of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari, murdered last summer by 2 illegal alien gang members released into the United States by Joe Biden's open border, stupid policies. And thank you very much, Alexis. I want to thank you very much. We had an amazing trip, and it was really special to meet you and your family. Appreciate it very much. So sad we have to be here, frankly. And Jocelyn, as you know, is in our hearts, as she was then. It was an amazing day we had, a great day. But it was a day of celebration of somebody that unfortunately won't be with us. But she is with us now, you know that. Here also is Patty Morin, the mother of Rachel Morin, killed 2 years ago by an illegal alien who was let into our country by the last administration's ridiculous, weak policies. Open border, can you imagine? When I heard open border, I said, oh, that's terrible. They're going to release their prisons all over the world. They're going to release their prisons into our country. That's exactly what happened. Patty is joined by Rachel's brother, Michael, Rachel's daughter, Clementine, and sister-in-law, Shannon. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. With us as well is the loving family of Kayla Hamilton, a 20-year-old girl murdered in July 2022 by the MS-13 illegal alien gang member who is violent, vicious, and they knew it, and they didn't do anything about it. And I want to thank you to Kayla's mother, Tammy, and her grandmother, Kathy, and her stepfather, Jeremiah, very much. And finally, I want to thank others who have also suffered this horrible scourge that goes on with young people being killed, and other people too, but young people, largely young people being killed. Thank you to Scott Root, the father of Sarah Root, killed at 21 years of age. Think of that, 21 by an illegal alien, shouldn't have been in our country, would have never been in our country if we were here. What a sad thing. To each of these Angel families, we love you and we stand in awe of your courage and your strength. It's the toughest thing anybody has to go through. Many of the Angel families here today were betrayed by the last administration, and with its heartless and foolish and really very, very arrogant and very, very dumb policies. Policies that aren't even believable when you talk about common sense. I say we're the party of common sense, but the Democrats also, they have plenty of common sense, and that's why so many are here today and so many supported what we're doing. The very government that was supposed to protect their daughters instead opened our borders and transported the world's most dangerous criminals straight into their communities. They came from prisons and jails and insane asylums and mental institutions from all over the world, not just South America. People think South America. They come from all over the world. They come from every continent. And they came here by plane, and they were loaded onto buses, and they were driven right up to our border, and they drove right through the border, and nobody even said a word to them. And in those buses and those cars and those trucks were some of the meanest criminals anywhere in the world. As of last September, 425,000 illegal alien criminals were roaming free, including 13,099 convicted illegal alien murderers, of which about almost 50% killed more than one person, and they were roaming all over the country in our farms, in our cities. Under the Trump administration, we're moving with urgency and speed to get these vicious and violent criminals the hell out of our country and to restore law and order to our suburbs, our cities, and our towns. And we're going to do it with Tom and with Christy and with all of the people that are working so hard on this. This week, compared to a comparable time a year ago, think of this, the number of illegal border crossers has already fallen by more than 100%. And because the election was coming, they started getting a little bit tougher on the border. They tried to follow our policies, and they did much better, but it still was horrible. The numbers were still horrible, so that's 100% over those. They only did it because of the election, so they knew what they were doing was wrong. And those who do cross the border, and you're seeing that every time, all you have to do is turn on your television set or pick up a newspaper, read any form of new media, because we have a lot of new media today, fortunately, that's letting the word get out. But they're watching these people be captured and removed from our country. ICE arrests have risen by 15 times in just a short period. And over the past 8 days, the heroes of ICE and Border Patrol, we can never forget Border Patrol. Those people, I've gotten to know so many of them. Our border czar, as you remember, never went to the border and never made a phone call. She was the border czar. She never made one phone call. They went to the heads of border. They went to the heads of ICE. Did you ever get a call? No. And she admitted she never made one call, but she was the border czar. And that's exactly what our border was all about. The heroes of ICE have arrested thousands and thousands of illegal alien criminals, including hundreds of gang members, traffickers, child predators, terrorists, and murderers. For the first time in history, we're loading dangerous and illegal aliens into military aircraft and flying them back to the places from which they came. You probably read about Colombia 2 days ago. They said, no, we're not taking them. I said, we're going to take them. You're going to take them. You're going to like it, too. You're going to take them. They talked about, we're not going to take people that are in shackles. I said, well, but the people that are in shackles are murderers, they're drug lords, they're rapists, they're very tough people. They make our criminals look like very nice people. That's about the only thing that comes out of this. And I say, could you imagine you're a pilot on the plane and you have your co-pilot, and you're sitting there and you have 150 people, no shackles, and they like to murder people? This would not be a good flight. So Colombia apologized to us profusely within an hour based on something I said, meaning you're going to pay tariffs like nobody's ever paid tariffs before. But they actually wanted to terminate his position. They're essentially Congress met and they were very angry with them. But they actually said they were going to send the presidential plane to pick up these criminals and to bring them because they didn't want to inconvenience us or have us do a second flight. And that's what they did. And I appreciate it. And I do appreciate the people of Colombia are wonderful people, and the representatives really acted well. And I appreciated they took back that tough talk. But, you know, we may have tough talk from others, but it's not going to mean anything. They're going to all take them back, and they're going to like it, too. They're going to like it. They're going to take it back, and they're going to like it. Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And tough. That's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just it's just an unforced error that we even have to be doing this. Now we need Congress to provide full funding for the complete and total restoration of our sovereign borders, as well as financial support to remove record numbers of illegal aliens. And these are illegal alien killers, criminals at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And you would have known that, and you were there when I said it. I said, everybody that's bad is going to be thrown. If you look at Venezuela, Venezuela's crime is down 77% because they've taken their gang members, their prisoners, their drug dealers, their drug lords. They've shipped them all into the United States. Many other countries, their crime is way down, and our crime is not doing well. But we're going to have it do really well very soon, and we're shipping all these people back where they came from. And now, before I sign the Laken-Riley Act into law, I would like to ask Laken's really incredible mother, who I've gotten to know. A very sad day I got to know her. But this is an amazing tribute to an amazing young person. And if you could come up, Allison, and say a few words, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trump. We would like to thank Senator Katie Britt for her diligent bipartisan work to get this bill through the Senate. We'd also like to thank Congressman Mike Collins for his unwavering passion and for leading on the Laken-Riley Act from the start. Our family will forever be grateful for the prayers of the people across our nation and for helping to get this legislation into law. We also want to thank President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken. And he hasn't. He's a man of his word. We trust that he will fight for the American people. Most importantly, I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without his sacrifices, Laken's story would have ended on that horrific day that she was taken from us. But because of him, we can continue living knowing that we will see Laken again. There's no amount of change that will ever bring back our precious Laken. Our hope moving forward is that her life saves lives. We're so thankful that her passion for helping others and her legacy for doing good in the name of Jesus Christ will carry on. Thank you.
Sign this in honor of Laken-Riley. Come on up here, some of the people that we love that have been so instrumental. Okay?
Wow, that was powerful. Oh, it was emotional. Listening to the mother. Ah, what a message.
Mr. President, government funding, can you take a quick question on government funding, the pause?
I don't think this is appropriate time, really. I respect that, but I don't think it's appropriate. I can just tell you government is doing very well, and we're cutting way back, but this is not the appropriate time. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump signing the Laken-Riley Act, the instant and immediate deportation and detention of dangerous criminal aliens who commit crimes and who ravage, scourge, murder, rape American citizens. They will be now punished. This is a law of the land, not an executive order. This is a law. This is the first law that President Trump has signed since entering office a little over 1 week ago. There is President Trump waving at Senator Fetterman, who is actually there in the front row. A Democrat senator in the front row. We heard he was going to be there. Jim Jordan, Mike Collins there, Laken Riley's parents and family, along with Katie Britt, the senator from Alabama. President Trump with Laken Riley's parents, who gave an emotional, absolute tear-jerking commentary on the memory of their daughter. President Trump taking a quick question from the press, saying the government's doing great. And President Trump then now walking. Isn't it nice to have a new, real president? This is what a president looks like. Isn't it nice to have that back? Fist pumping the military at his side. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe the most important, perhaps the most important piece of legislation that President Trump has ever signed. All right. We do not have any further questions. It's always a hunch on these things. You say, well, you know what? President Trump has taken questions for the last, executive orders, last 25 executive orders. He took questions 5 times in one day on Friday. And so you don't want to miss it. And you obviously want to ensure that you're there to cover it live. President Trump making a ton of news without taking questions, saying that he's going to open up Guantanamo Bay, saying that federal workers better watch their asses. They are all going back to work. Saying that there has been fake news about his White House, written about the orders to have federal government employees come back to work or resign. President Trump made it very clear that that is the stance of his administration, and he sent resignation offers to every federal employee yesterday. Donald Trump then spending the majority of his speech talking about the scourge of criminal alien crime. And let's just set the table very, very firmly here. What is the incidence of crime rate for illegal aliens, for criminal aliens? It is 100%, because they are all criminals, because they all broke our laws coming here. So the answer to that question is the criminal alien crime rate is 100. Here's Kristi Noem doing a spectacular job as Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Okay, no audio, okay. Can't hear what they are saying. There's music playing. The president's band there plays along, but you have the Secretary of Homeland Security there who was on ICE raids yesterday, of whom I can reveal to you we are imminently planning on going on an ICE raid with. In the works, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show you something that's really important. I want to show you the difference between the way that President Trump approached Laken Riley's family in an absolutely heart-wrenching, tear-jerking engagement right here. This was moments after, I think this was the weekend after Laken Riley's death, President Trump speaking to her family here at a MAGA rally in Georgia. You'll recognize the father and the mother there, along with her sister. And the way that Joe Biden treated Laken Riley. When Joe Biden was at the State of the Union, Joe Biden was confronted by Marjorie Taylor Greene and was told to say her name, Laken Riley. And here is how Joe Biden responded. See if you can spot the slight difference.
About him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really. Laken Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump posted a graphic yesterday of the criminal alien encounters and where they were just a few days ago with Joe Biden as the president. Please, production team, grab this for me because we have to take a moment to actually show you this. To show you that this was all possible. All of this could have been fixed by Joe Biden. All of it. But instead, Joe Biden refused to halt the scourge on our nation, the open criminality, the pouring across our borders by criminal aliens, and the death of Americans. Joe Biden refused to do anything about it. There it is. Here you go. The criminal alien encounters at the border. Look at this. And Donald Trump hasn't even passed any laws yet. Daily encounters of undocumented migrants without repatriations and returns to Mexico. Look at that. From Biden to Trump. Proving that Joe Biden wanted this to happen, and everything you just heard him say there about Laken Riley, didn't even get her name right, was total bullshit. And it's so hard to even watch those old clips, like what we've just gone through. It's so unbelievably painful. An important reminder that, of course, Joe Biden was lectured in histrionics by Nancy Pelosi after that outburst, saying that thousands of Americans have died via criminal aliens and calling them illegal aliens. Joe Biden called them an illegal alien. And Nancy Pelosi threw a fit over Joe Biden saying that. Listen.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
No, I actually wasn't even going to ask about that. I was just going to ask more about the moment. But you do think that he should have said undocumented? That wasn't going to be my question.
Well, we usually say undocumented. He said
that was so an American girl is dead because she had a rock. If I'm reading the police reports correct, he used a blunt instrument. He used a rock. This criminal alien used a rock to go kill her while she was out jogging. She's a nursing student. And Nancy Pelosi is there chastising Joe Biden, protecting the criminal murderer alien. This was the response. This was Joe Biden's response. They apologized. These people, they're demons. They apologized to the criminal alien. It's worth remembering. Here we go.
Notice the look of surprise on your face when you walked into the chamber and you saw Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was priceless. You feigned shock at seeing her. But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
Okay.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
Joe Biden took this opportunity not to apologize to Laken Riley or family for the policies of his administration. Can we go back to the chart, please, Killer Klein? His administration, Joe Biden, this is proof positive. Here's the data proof that all of it was a lie. Oh, we needed somebody to pass an act in Congress. We needed to pass some bills in Congress for me to protect the border. Nope. You could have literally just done it. You could have just done it. There we go. January 20th. Joe Biden could have, for the last 4 years, stopped virtually all of this. By orders of magnitude, stopped. I mean, Trump hasn't stopped it. Trump hasn't stopped it 100%. So it's like 40, 30, 10. These are manageable numbers. Yeah, that's right. This is 47 right there. And a 34 and a 43. These people are literal demons. Can you zoom out on this, please? Look at this. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands a day under Joe Biden. Never forget that Democrats hate this country. They hate you. They want to replace you. And when the people who they've brought here, who have been emptied out from insane asylums and jails in the third world, come here and kill your children, they'll apologize to the killer for offending them. I've just shown you demonstrable evidence of this. Here is President Trump's campaign response moments afterwards. So this is like hours after Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi go on an apology tour to the Venezuelan murderer. Here's how Donald Trump responded. This was from the campaign trail. Laken Riley's family in the front row.
He was an illegal alien. He was an illegal immigrant. He was an illegal migrant. And he shouldn't have been in our country, and he never would have been under the Trump policy.
Promises made, promises kept.
And Biden should be apologizing for apologizing to this killer.
Yep. That's exactly right. Promises made, promises kept. Now, of course, you heard Donald Trump talk about Laken and the murderer, and then mention a number of other families that were there who lost children. There are thousands of American families who've lost family members or had their lives destroyed based on criminal alien crime, of which the crime rate for a criminal alien is 100%. But this is brand new, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make sure that we put a pin in this one. Donald Trump saying, not only are we signing the Laken Riley Act, where we immediately prosecute and deport and punish all criminal aliens that commit crimes in America, but also they may be heading down to Club Gitmo, to our terrorist detention center. That we may be moving them into military terrorist detention centers. Now, this is brand new. This must be a brand new Stephen Miller policy. President Trump seems to love it. Here we go.
Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And that's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just it's just an unforced error that.
Good. You should know that there are penalties to coming here and breaking our laws. Now, I want a border that looks like this, ladies and gentlemen. Here is a rendering of, I don't know, maybe the border wall of your or my Donald Trump's dreams when Donald Trump puts on his nightcap and goes to bed at night in the White House. This is what he's dreaming of. And click on that. That looks really nice right there. And that not bad. Not bad. I don't mind that one. Is that electric fence at the top? Is that electric wire? That'd be great. Okay, is that electrical? That's a smart one. That's a smart move. Quoting to you, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite Donald Trump quote here, really encompassing what we just witnessed. I am signing a law that requires the Department of Homeland Security, of which Kristi Noem was there, the White House, to detain all aliens that have been arrested for any crime that results in any injury or any death. It's pretty broad, by the way. Any injury, I mean, injury can encompass so many things from a legal perspective. States will also now have the ability to sue the federal government for immediate injunctive relief if any future administration ever refuses to enforce immigration laws in the United States, as happened for the last 4 long years. There it is. The crystallization of the Laken-Riley Act and this moment of President Trump keeping his promise to the family of Laken Riley. And what's amazing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that the entire country agrees with us. There's not a single person in this country. It's almost like my producers, and I'll say this in closing, my producers, some of them are like freaking out in the chat. Watching these clips of Joe Biden, it's like a bad dream. Like the glorious blessings that we have received in this nation, that we no longer can live, no longer have to endure this humiliation. We no longer have to go to bed worried that somebody's family is going to wake up and a criminal alien is going to kill their kid. Could be you, could be me. I have 4 kids. And then the government's going to do nothing. They'll apologize to the murderer for hurting their feelings. Instead, now, here's a photo of Guantanamo Bay. This is where the murderer will go with some of the worst terrorists on planet Earth. This is where the murderer goes. Not with an apology, but perhaps a death sentence. Most of the people that are in Guantanamo Bay are awaiting death in some capacity. One capacity or another. That's where President Trump's sending them. It's like a fever's broken. It's like looking into a bizarro world country. And we don't have to ever live like that again. The American people now understand the term criminal alien is the correct term. They've all broken our laws, and you don't invite people into your house who broke your window heading inside, graffitied your front step, and kicked in your front door. Chances of them following your laws are very, very low. Following the rules of your house are very low. So we're so thankful for sanity. We're deeply appreciative for President Trump keeping this promise made, promise kept. God bless Laken Riley's family. Nothing will ever be able to bring back Laken or any of the people who were killed in the scourge, but the best that we can possibly do is continue to fight for them and to ensure that suffering and loss never happens to another family. And that's some cold comfort, a silver lining, and that's what we're looking for on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Very proud of this audience, very proud of what the movement that we've built. We were able to deliver Laken Riley's family justice. Do you think that Kamala Harris would have been signing that act? I assure you the answer is no. No. Hundreds of Democrats voted against it, okay? Just to let you know what side they're on. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're on the side of right. Our show will win. Thank you for joining us for this live, possibly the most important piece of legislation Trump has ever signed, and it is not an executive order, it's the law of the land. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See you for the next win.
So follow me. Hey, come on, babe. Follow me. I'm the Pied Piper. Follow me. I'm the Pied Piper. And I'll show you where it's at.
So much for fixing my porch, Handy Manny. And with the lowest prices in town.
Stand back, ma'am. We're deporting this illegal hombre back to Taco Town.
¿Illegal? ¿Qué demonios estás hablando? No soy un illegal con seguro tus manos. Oh.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
You hear the stories. It's not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
If you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
It ain't an easy job, but when you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
The big and their dying legacy, media dillweeds. Soon will the penny show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.